Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's the Single Mom's Budget, and today we are going into episode 4 of my tips and tricks to investing, saving, and budgeting. Before we get into it, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching my videos, commenting, liking, all those things. I really appreciate it, and I love being able to talk to you guys through the comments. So thank you so much for that. And I do want to say one more thing before we get into this, and that is that the last night to enter for my giveaway will be Thursday. So midnight, 12 a.m. Friday will be the cutoff point. So from there, I will decide on who the winner will be, and I'll announce that in my cash stuffing video. Okay, so let's just get into it. So I know we've talked before about, different ways of bringing in extra income and just being able to kind of bulk up our savings for things that could happen down the line. Maybe you have plans to buy a new car, buy a house, or just, looking further down the road for when you do retire. So some of the things that we will go over will kind of help with those different areas. But I do want to say that this is just information that I've learned over the years. And of course, there's so many resources out there that I do advise you all to, take that time, really do some research, and, find out what works best for you. Okay, so just getting started, how to invest. So the first one I would say would be our savings here. And of course, that's an easy one to do. That's just putting money into your savings account every week, every month, whichever is easiest for you. And while that money sits in that account, you get a percentage in interest that'll be added in. Now, it's normally pretty low, but if it's something that you're not looking for something long-term, and a return on those savings, I would say, any money that you're not using to invest should be put into a savings account, so at least it's making some money. So definitely take the time to look at your banks, and even some online banks have some pretty decent savings account interest rates. So, give them a chance, look them up and see what might interest you. Going down, we have a Roth IRA, and that is actually something that I've recently gotten into, and I haven't put much money into it, so I haven't really talked about it on my channel. But when I get a little bit more familiar with it, I will go into detail about that one as well. Now, with a Roth IRA, that kind of is, I guess you would say it's like putting together a savings account for when you go to retire. So essentially, whatever money you put into it is held for you until you retire, or when you hit the age, I believe, is 59 and a half. I could be wrong, but I will double check that if I misspoke about that. So what happens is you can put money into this account, and using that money to then invest, that you can then use to invest. And it kind of just holds it there for you until you decide to retire. It makes you usually get a better return if you go through a Roth IRA, or we have coming up next, which is a 401k. And that one you usually will see for employers may have this one available for you. But with the Roth IRA, what's great about a Roth IRA is that any money that you put into it when you do go to retire at that glory age of 59 and a half, if that were to ever happen, you never know, it's tax-free. So you will not be taxed on that money when you do take it out. But I do want to, let you guys know that if for some reason you had to take money out early or before that age, you can take it out, but you will have penalties that you'll have to pay. So just make sure that when or if you guys go down that route, to just, be aware of what those fees may be. The next one is a 401k, and that's something that I know, at least for myself, I got through my employer. And for a lot of employers, they may do a thing where they will match your investment. I know for myself, they match a percentage of what I put in. So I always just do whatever the max that I can put in to match, to get the most out of their matching. So that's what I usually do. So the same way as the Roth IRA, for the 401k, you get that money when you do retire, or you're allowed to take that money out when you do hit that 59 and a half age. But with the 401k, you will be taxed when you go to take that money out when you go to retire. You will also be taxed and have fees if you do take that money out before then. So for these two right here, you're really looking for something that's long-term, when you go to retire. So, it's kind of one of those set it and forget it. Just put the money in it. Don't even remind yourself that it exists. Just kind of keep your eye on it, but just, it's not there for you to touch right now. So just, put whatever you want to put in at that time. And then just going down, we have where to invest. So I just put down a few companies, or I guess investment places that you can go to that I personally use. So of course, there's plenty out there. Honestly, there's so many out there that it can get really confusing, but it's really important that you do that research to find ones that you are most comfortable with and to stick to those. So the ones that I have posted here is M1 Finance, Robinhood, and then Vanguard. M1 Finance is the one that I use the most. That's where I do my investments weekly through. So whenever I get paid, I do put $50 away each week into my M1 Finance account. My Robinhood, I honestly only opened it because of the free stock that you get when you open it. So I haven't really put much into that. But with these companies, you don't have to worry about commission fees. So what you're putting in is what you're putting in, which is really great. But again, I just want to put out there that any information that you receive on here, just please make sure you do your research and make sure that you are comfortable with whatever investments that you go into, or what companies that you feel comfortable working with. Now with Vanguard, I really liked their company just because they also provide a Roth IRA, and they also have 401ks and like other ways of saving. So it's really great to just check those guys out. So same thing with Vanguard. They have where you can, invest into like index funds. So like S&P 500 or real estate, all those kind of things. And I'll go over that in the next section down below. But those are just a few things that you can, look out for when trying to find a company to put your investments in. So let's go. So further down, we have what to invest in. And of course, I have this kind of written like individual stocks, but these are not individual stocks, but I'll go over that in a little more detail. So you have index funds, and then you have your individual stocks, are what I focus on myself. But of course, there's others out there that you can work with as well. So for these guys here, this is what I would consider more of your index funds. Those are not individual stocks. So with an index fund, what's really great about those is that if you do like an S&P 500, or you go into like real estate funds or bonds, there's so many out there that you can pick from. What they do is kind of give you the opportunity to have a portion of a bunch of companies into one group, which kind of lessen the probability of losing your money. That's how I would put it. So let's just say that you have one company, say you invested in Amazon, and for some reason Amazon, something happens and their stock drops 50%, but you put $1,000 in it. Now you're down $500 that you've completely lost in the company and you don't get back. And that really hurts and it really hits close to home. And, you were really hoping for that money to kind of help you out in the long run, or, if you had something planned further down the road, and it really affects your savings. And you really don't want to work that way. So what having an S&P or real estate funds or bonds, what that does is that it lessens that effect. So say that you now have an S&P 500 where you have 500 companies all in the same bucket or bowl, and Amazon still loses 50%. That doesn't affect you as much as if you had gotten it individually. So what ends up happening is maybe that company that lost 50% may end up only being $1 or $2 to you, because your investment has been spread across a ton of other companies that kind of offset that loss. And most of what I invest in are in those types of investments that I use through M1 Finance. And it definitely makes a difference, because I do have some individual stocks that I put money into, and I definitely see it every week where, Amazon could be down 5% and now I'm out $20, where if it was part of my S&P 500, then it would have been, only a couple of cents or a couple of dollars here and there. That wouldn't hurt as much. But yeah. So that one I feel like is the easiest for anyone that's just starting off and not really sure where to start. That index funds are probably the easiest to get into, the least amount of work for you to have to worry about, if that's something that you guys are interested in. Now, when it comes to like long-term and short-term goals, that ultimately affects at least what I believe, where you invest your money. So if you're looking for like a return for something within a year, honestly, sticking to your savings account and just bringing in that small interest is probably your best bet. Roth IRA and 401ks would not help you out at all in that situation. But if you're looking for something that's 10-year, 20-year, really down the line, then these are areas that'll really kind of help you out with that. And I do want to say, when it comes to investing, and it's something that I've noticed in these last couple of years of investing, which I'm telling you is not enough time to really understand all of this. So please, as I keep saying in this video, do your own research and definitely check out some other channels that can definitely bring in some more information to help you along with this, because it'll just make it that much easier for you. But when it comes to doing your investments, you really, really need to look at it in the long run, because day to day, small things can happen, and stocks can be up one day, can be down later the same day. So you really want to look at where your investments will take you, when it's come time to retire, or maybe you want to buy a house, or, whatever that may be. So really just look at that as well. When it comes to figuring out like how much money to put into your investments, honestly, that's up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. What's really great about these smaller companies like an M1 Finance or a Robinhood is that you don't have to put a lot of money in. Now you can put in, $1, $5, $10, whatever you have that you can put in is a great starting off point. I'm telling you, honestly, anything is better than nothing, because every time that dollar just, sits in your wallet, or you take it to Starbucks, because we all know I love Starbucks, that's money that could have been making additional income or additional savings for you later down the road. So definitely, keep that in mind. And then one thing I wanted to say about like deciding on, what stocks or, which way you want to go with your investments is definitely look into companies that provide dividends when you invest with them. And essentially that's just, it's a certain amount of money that is paid out to their investors, usually on a quarterly basis or a yearly basis, based off on how much you've invested into them. So I know for myself, for the few stocks that I do have, I do get, it almost seems every month that I will get a notification of a payout in dividends. And honestly, I just reinvest that back into the stocks that I have. And it's not a lot because, of course, for myself, I've just started and I'm only putting in $50 a week. But I usually get about 25 to 30 cents back for each of my investments, which doesn't sound like much. But if you also think about how much I actually have into each of them, it's not much yet. But as I continue to put more money in, then the bigger the dividend is. And I know for some of a couple of these guys that I do have on here as suggested pages to check out will definitely attest to this, that for some you can live off just your dividends. So it's just really important to, keep all those things in mind when you are starting that journey and looking to invest and save money that way. Just, keep it all in mind. And then also, of course, the sources that I have here to help you guys get started. Dave Ramsey, of course, I know a bunch of you already know who this is. And he's, one of the main reasons a lot of us do our cash stuffing envelopes, do a zero-based budget, and, really trying to pay down those debts and get on track with understanding our money. I also have on here Andre Jick. He is hilarious, loves magic, but he knows what he's talking about when it comes to investing and your finances, and also figuring out what other side incomes that you can bring in to kind of increase that wealth for you. And then, of course, Graham, I want to say it's Stefan, but it could be Steven. I cannot remember, but I will double check. But he's another one. He really does focus on real estate, is his big thing, real estate investments. But he also goes over the same things on, like, how to invest, where you should go, what you should invest in, what kind of goals. So a lot of like what I'm going over here today is things that he does as well. And he goes into a lot more detail than I ever could. So really check those guys out if you're looking for other resources or more guidance as to where you want to get to. But yeah, so these are just, a few things to think about when you guys are starting your investment journey. I hope it was helpful. Sorry if I couldn't go into more detail about a lot of things, but there is so much out there for you guys to learn and for myself to learn. So of course, if I find out about anything else, I will update you guys in my other videos, and we'll figure this out together. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget tomorrow is the last day to enter my giveaway. I will have the winner on Friday. And on Saturday, I will post the winner along with my cash stuffing video for April. I want to say it's week 4. So yeah, you'll see all that later this week, and I will see you guys and talk to you guys then. Bye.